guys! So I'm Lynn.
And I'm Victoria.
And we are the LB Project. So last time you guys got to hear my side of the story about my shadowing experience and stuff. And so apparently Victoria also has her own experiences of her shadowing nurses and doctors and whatnot. So tell us basically how your shadowing went and stuff.
Yeah. So I will be sharing about my shadowing experience with a nurse practitioner and few other mental health professionals or just health professionals in general. So the way that I get to shadow was I've been volunteering at a place since 2014.
Ooh.
And I've been working with patients there and things like that. And then I started reaching out to my supervisor. I was like, all right, I'm interested in shadowing a nurse practitioner. Do you have any contacts or anybody else that I can go to? And then she instantly gave me a list. And then I contacted, and she specially recommended one department in the same hospital where she used to shadow.
Ooh.
So I contacted that person. We had our orientation, which was very fast, and I think I was the first intern. So then I ended up getting internship there, which is it's just such a rewarding thing. And yeah, and I'm just glad that having the experience of working with patients for such long is already great. In addition, I get to this connection. I'm just very thankful. And so I started interning for them. So and part of the internship is shadowing.
Oh, okay.
And so I've shadowed two nurse practitioners so far. The first nurse practitioner concentrates in pediatric mental health. So I got to shadow, and it was just so interesting to see how, like you said, from the previous video, how they diagnose, the tests that they do, the steps that they do to come up with a conclusion. And one of the things I really appreciate is that the nurse practitioner really before making the diagnosis, really talk to the parents and listen, because it's mostly kids, with the pediatrician. And sometimes if the kids can talk and things like that, they will ask for their opinions. And I really appreciate that, because I've read some papers and things like that, and other people's comment about how doctors or nurses and doctors, because they're just so busy all the time, they tend to make diagnose before spending a lot of time talking with the patient. And so I just really appreciate that the clinic really pay attention and wrote down every single thing that the mom or dad says before they make a decision. And the second nurse practitioner that I've shadowed is, I have to cheat on my notes, her title is Pediatric Nurse Practitioner that specializes in children with disabilities. So basically the same route as the previous nurse practitioner, but she's even spent more time to specialize even more, which I think is interesting how there's a lot of levels to nurses and you can get more specialized, which is interesting. And another person that I was excited to shadow was the occupational therapist. And so that was interesting just to see how we do need everybody to make sure that we can provide the best service to the patient. And it was just such an inspiring and good learning experience for me. So then in the future, when I'm a nurse practitioner, I then would know, where I should refer my patient to, and I would know what's the next step for the patient, either if it's if it's OT or speech pathologist. So yeah.
Awesome. Sounds pretty interesting. So of the, I believe 3 that you had talked about, which nurse that you have shadowed was at least the time that you had shadow with Ida 3, which experience has been the most meaningful to you and why?
Oh, good question. The very first one. The very first one, she is a pediatric nurse practitioner, and she was just subbing for the current nurse practitioner, because the current nurse practitioner was pregnant at that time, and it was, you know, that time. And so I got to be with her for 2-3 times. And I feel like it was my greatest experience, because that was like my first time. So it was very meaningful. And she was just, the way that she mentor me was more intentional than the current one, which is fine. It's also like a good exposure for me to, like, oh, you know, in the future, if I get, you know, if I shadow someone or if I start a job, people just have different way of handling things. And as long as, you know, you know what you're there for, and you don't take it personally, and you're there just to learn, and you know, I still make connections with the current one, but and it's still meaningful. But I think, I like your question, the most meaningful would be the first 3 times that I shadowed the nurse practitioner in the beginning.
Awesome. So I do believe you're still going to be shadowing in the future. So what are you looking forward to the most?
I look forward to continue to be so at this point I'm still learning, you know, all of the terms and things like that. So I look forward to the upcoming shadowing where I have more background knowledge and where I can just critically think more, because right now it's just taking a lot of information, learning. So that I'm just really interested to see, I'm just interested for the critical thinking side of it, and being there, knowing more, and just keep adding to my knowledge. I'm also interested in shadowing other people that are involved in the healthcare clinic. And I think one of the things that they do is before someone gets diagnosed, they will have this thing called where they have the patient, and then they have different specialists in the room at the same time to observe, and then afterwards they decide, and before they diagnose, which I appreciate, instead of one person diagnosing, because it's a big deal, right?
Yeah,
you're diagnosing the person, and you don't want it to be self-fulfilling prophecy. You want it to be, you know, the right thing. So I'm just like, maybe one of these days I'm interested to be able to shadow that entire process. That usually will take like about 5 hours.
Wow.
For the entire thing, because you got to do different tests and things like that. So
that's true. Wow.
Yay.
Awesome.
Well, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you liked what we talked about. And if you have any ideas for us, comment on the comment box below. Comment box? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, comment below, and yeah.
Yep. So, see you guys.
Bye.